All right, welcome. If you're on the path to the Queensland Bar, then you know just how crucial managing expert evidence is. Today, we're going way beyond the textbook. We're getting into the practical, strategic application of the rules for expert conferences. Let's make UCPR 428 through 429C a really powerful part of your litigation toolkit. So picture this. It's a classic litigation nightmare, right? Your experts are completely deadlocked on a make or break issue. The trial's looming, costs are just piling up, and the judge, well, the judge wants clarity, not a stalemate. So what's your move? What do you do? Thankfully, the UCPR provides a really powerful procedural tool that's designed to do one thing: break this exact kind of deadlock. So in this explainer, we're going to walk through the whole process from start to finish. We'll look at when the court will even order a conference, what actually happens inside that conference, how you're allowed to talk to the experts, what comes out of it, and, most importantly, how you can use these rules strategically in your practice. Okay, first things first, let's set the stage. Why do these rules even exist? Well, it all comes down to a problem every single litigator knows all too well: the so-called battle of the experts. When expert evidence turns into a battle, it doesn't just muddy the waters, it drives costs through the roof. The UCPR is designed to cut right through all that noise. It gives the court a mechanism to basically force experts to engage with each other directly, to narrow that field of dispute before a whole lot of expensive trial time gets wasted. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty, starting with the court's primary power under Rule 428. This is really the kickoff for the entire process. A Rule 428 order is basically a two-pronged attack on deadlock. First up, the conference. The experts are ordered to meet and actually talk through their disagreements. Then, Part 2, the joint report. And this is the absolutely crucial output. They must write down what they agree on, what they still disagree on, and, this is key, why they disagree. Now here's the thing. Just because you ask for a conference doesn't mean you're going to get one. The court has discretion here, and it's only going to make that order if it sees a real, genuine benefit in doing so. And it all boils down to one simple word: utility. Seriously, when you're on your feet arguing for a conference, this word is your entire pitch. You have to convince the judge that getting the experts together is going to be genuinely useful, that it will shrink the issues in dispute, or at the very least, really sharpen everyone's understanding of why they disagree in the first place. And these two cases showed the test in action perfectly. In Booth v. Francesco, the court said no to a conference. Why? Because the experts had this fundamental, unshakable disagreement on the main issue. The court basically said forcing them into a room would be pointless. But then you look at Guerin v. Watts. The court ordered a conference because, hey, even if total agreement was a long shot, there was a real chance to narrow the issues, and the court saw that as a huge win for efficiency. Okay, so the court has made the order. The conference is happening. Now we're going behind those closed doors into what some people call the expert conclave, and this is where Rule 429A really kicks in. And the very first thing you need to notice is who is not in the room. You. Rule 429A, subsection 2, is crystal clear. The parties and their lawyers are out. This whole setup is designed to create a kind of sterile environment where the experts can have a frank, open discussion, totally free from any pressure, whether it's real or just perceived, from the people who are paying their invoices. This rule basically codifies the experts' number one duty, their duty to the court. It's not enough for them to just show up. They have to exercise independent judgment. They have to genuinely try to find common ground. And that last point is a big one. They must not take any instructions to avoid reaching an agreement. Your job is to prep your expert on the facts, not to coach them on an outcome. Their duty is to the court, not to you. But, this cone of silence around the experts isn't completely absolute. What if they need more info? Or what if you, as counsel, need to know what on earth is going on in there? Well, Rule 429B creates very specific, very controlled channels for communication. And this table lays out the protocol perfectly. Notice the pattern here. Everything has to be in writing, and it has to be joint or sent to all parties. Whether it's an expert asking a question or a party asking for a progress report, the rule is all about total transparency. There are no side door conversations, no back channels. Everything is out in the open. Okay, so the conference is over, the report is written. Now what? What's the legal status of everything that was just said and done?
For your bar exam, this is a critical distinction you absolutely positively have to know.
I want you to think of Rule 429C as creating a kind of Vegas rule for the conference. What's said in the room stays in the room. The discussions are inadmissible. This encourages the experts to speak freely. But, and this is a huge but, the final product, that joint report, it does not stay in the room. It goes directly into evidence. That document becomes a cornerstone of the trial.
All right, we've torn through the rules. Let's pull this all together now. Let's synthesize this into a strategic playbook that you can take into your bar exams and, more importantly, into your actual practice. So let's put it all together. Your role as counsel here is anything but passive. You have to strategically argue for the conference, and you do that by showing its utility. You've got to prepare your expert meticulously on their duties and on those strict communication rules. But your most important job? It begins the moment that joint report lands on your desk. That document isn't the end of the process, it's the beginning of your trial strategy. It is your roadmap for cross-examination. And that's really our final thought. That joint report isn't just some administrative piece of paper. It's a treasure map. It tells you exactly where the experts agree, locking them into that position, and it pinpoints precisely where they disagree. So how can you use those points of agreement to your advantage? And how can you use the stated reasons for disagreement to dismantle the other side's expert in the witness box? Now that is the art of advocacy.